Okay, everybody, we're back. Our second Cabral HouseCall of the weekend. I appreciate this community so much. Thank you for your support. Thank you for always tuning in. It means the world to me. We're closing up on another year, if you can believe it. I don't even know how many years it's been on the show, but at least 8 years, and truly appreciate your support. Also love these weekend edition of the show. This is where I get to answer our community's questions. People write in at stephencabral.com/askcabral. All those questions get put into a document that my team assembles. We get multiple per day, and then I read them on Saturdays and Sundays. I don't do any prep work, as I've said before, and it takes about somewhere around 8 to 12 weeks to get your questions answered, and it just depends on how many questions have come in. If you ever need daily support, if you ever have a daily question, ask at cabralsupportgroup.com. That is our free Facebook group. It's private. You can ask your questions there. There's almost 30,000 people from around the world in that group. We've never advertised it. It's just people helping people. It's absolutely phenomenal. I love it. And then, of course, there's our IHP groups where those are private as well. What else can I share with you? And then if you ever have a customer question on a lab or whatever it is, just write in at any time. It's support@equa.life. That's support@equi.life. They'll get back to you the same day. Average response time is within 2 hours. I mean, that's insane for a online company, but that's something we pride ourselves on. We appreciate you. We thank you. Now, let's dive into the questions. First question today is from Cheryl. Let's see what Cheryl has to say. Hello, my 65-year-old sister is on blood pressure medication from her conventional doctor, which I do not agree with in the first place. Is it safe for her to be taking creatine? She is fairly active, goes on walking, and takes yoga classes regularly. She has read online that it's not safe for people with high blood pressure. I listened to your interview with JJ Virgin, and she recommends it for all women. Your thoughts, please. Okay, so first and foremost, nobody's giving medical advice on any podcast, and nothing is for everyone. I don't know of a product that everybody in the world should use. Just putting that out there, okay? So if you have a medical condition, you want to be working with a practitioner. If I had high blood pressure or a family member did, I would not be using creatine. Definitely not. Why? Because there's a milder stress on the kidneys. And when you're on blood pressure medication, not always, but most likely this individual is taking a diuretic of some type. So now you're placing greater strain on the kidneys. That's the issue with blood pressure medication. It's not just like, oh, I'll just go on this the rest of my life. Okay, the larger the dose, the more potential damage for the kidneys, and then your blood pressure stays normal, but then your kidneys eventually give out and you have to go on dialysis. So like, we got to find the root cause. Like, we have to always look for the root cause because these medications do not come without side effects. Okay, so no, I would not use creatine if you have kidney-based issues. It's a great product, but not if you have kidney issues. Okay. Victoria is up next. Hello, Dr. Brawl. My 7-year-old son was recently diagnosed with Henoch. Let's see if I can pronounce this. Let's go for it. Henoch Schonlien Purpura. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've never heard it pronounced before, but I've got it. His blood work did not prove, so to speak, a true diagnosis, nor was he sick prior to coming down with symptoms of HSP. He has had GI issues, swollen lymph nodes, eczema, and allergies in the past. He did take a steroid to help him kick the HSP. Is there an at-home test or protocol that you'd recommend to see what the root cause is? My initial thought was food sensitivity or inflammation test. I appreciate your thought. Thanks for all you do. All right. So we've got a 7-year-old with HSP. What is HSP? I'm sure that first name is some doctor's name that first came up with this. But basically, it's almost like a purpling of the skin from vasculitis or inflammation of the blood vessels. And ordinarily, you'd say, okay, that's not that big a deal. However, it can affect the kidneys and other organs as well. So that is a big deal. Now, for most, it definitely happens in younger children way more often and not in older kids and definitely not in adults as much. It's just different. So here's the nice thing is that it usually resolves on its own. It typically comes about from an infection. So I think you said he was sick, maybe true diagnosis, nor was he sick coming down to it. Okay, so yeah, most of the time, I think it's an upper respiratory issue. Again, I'm not an expert in this in particular, but everything has an underlying root cause, right? So like what's going on with the immune system? It's definitely immune system based. It typically does resolve itself. That's the nice thing, but you need to watch out for the kidney based issues, etc. Okay, so what would my recommendation be? Well, in general for children, like my daughter, let me tell you what my daughters do every year. They do the minerals and metals test. So we look at the minerals in their body and for any heavy metals. Okay. Next, they do the Candida metabolic and vitamins test. That looks at all the vitamins in their body and any potential gut issues. Okay, so that's two. Simple. Hair sample, urine sample. The next one is a food sensitivity test. And at the same time as the food sensitivity test, I do the omega-6 to omega-3 inflammation test because it's one finger prick. I get their blood drops for the food, and I already have the finger pricked. At the same time, I do the omega-6 to omega-3 inflammation. And it's not a bad thing. I show them then, like, listen, one of my daughters has sensitivity to eggs. This is why we're not going to do a lot of eggs. It doesn't mean eggs are bad food. It just means that when you eat them, it might cause a little bit of inflammation, a little skin rash. Here are all the foods. We test for 190 foods. All the other ones are great and no issues with you. So we kind of go through that. We help the education because it's important to learn as a child. We don't want to learn when we're 37, better to learn at 7. And then for the omega-6 to omega-3, they really don't, have a lot of control over that. It's what you're feeding them. But also, my daughter's taking omega-3. And so that's that. And it just says, okay, you're at below a 5 to 1. You're at a great level. You're doing great. And it's more like I get to pat them on the back. They're doing a great job. And if they have heavy metals or anything, I don't talk to them about the heavy metals they have in their body. I talk about, we'll do a heavy metal detox. So hopefully that's helpful. That's what I do with my kids, and that's what I recommend as well. That's how we keep the immune system strong, right? So, and then every day they get their multi, they get their omega, they get their, their DNS or multi, they get their daily fruit and vegetable blend. They do some zinc a couple times a week. They do some magnesium a couple times a week. What else do they use? The basics, right? Nothing crazy unless they need it. Then that's when we add it in. So both my daughters have done a parasite protocol before the parasite protocol. They both done a heavy metal detox. They do that annually. We all do it together as a family. Yeah. So nothing too crazy. All right. Michelle's up next. I recently listened to your podcast and someone asked about magnesium. Oh, there we go. Magnesium. You said that magnesium oxide can act as a laxative. Is magnesium hydroxide the same? I've been taking for over 3 years, and now I'm wondering if it's negatively impacting my health. I have one more question. I've been using an Apple Watch. Let's see. Sorry, I lost my place. I have one more question. I've been using an Apple Watch for tracking my steps in fitness. I'm really concerned about the radiation. Is it okay to use with airplane mode on or turn off cellular service? Is there a safer option that will track my steps and workouts? Thanks so much. Okay, these are great questions. Let's start with the Apple Watch. So I switched back from the Garmin watch to the Apple Watch for simplicity. I love closing those rings on a daily basis, my movement calories, my exercise minutes per day, and then my time standing, and then I shoot for 75 to 10,000 steps every day. So bottom line is this, is that I turn off Bluetooth to my Apple Watch and I turn it on airplane mode. So it is basically just a watch that is tracking then in and of itself and not beaming it to anything else. I've tested it with my EMF meter and I get totally fine readings on that. So I would say for me, it's totally fine. I keep it in airplane mode. When you see me take photos of it, it's got that little orange airplane. And then when you say, like, well, how do you get your data? Okay, so the same as my Oura Ring, I keep it in airplane mode. So I turn it on in the morning, I pop it on the charger, the Oura Ring, it pops back on, it loads up all my data. And then with my Apple Watch, twice a day as well, evening and morning. And that's it. And then it's still going to just track it all day long. But when I go for my workout later in the day, then it uploads it to my phone. So, and then I just take it off my body when I do that. So that, maybe I'm a little bit more cautious than most people, but super simple to do. And so just morning, evening, upload all the data and we're good to go. Okay. So you had another part to your question, which I want to make sure I get to, is about magnesium hydroxide. Okay. So yes, magnesium oxide is not well absorbed and it acts as a laxative. That's why they use it in hospitals to help people with constipation. So it's not the best way to get your magnesium, that's for sure. Now, some people like it because it keeps the bowels moving. Magnesium hydroxide is essentially magnesium oxide, but with water being added. So essentially you create magnesium hydroxide every time you mix magnesium oxide with water, if that makes sense. So it's kind of oversimplifying the chemistry, but yeah, they're basically the same thing. And so I would look at it with the same properties, okay? And I'm not saying that it's a bad product. What I'm saying is that if you're taking magnesium oxide, your body's not going to absorb it well. It's actually going to go through you, which is essentially what it's meant to be as a laxative. If you want to absorb your magnesium, look at a product like magnesium glycinate or calming magnesium. Those are at stephencabral.com/shop. That's what we use. Magnesium, full spectrum magnesium uses glycinate, lysine, and I believe some citrate, which is the best to absorb, does not cause laxative effects in any way, shape, or form. We guarantee that. It just helps with absorption because not all people absorb magnesium glycinate as well as others. So we use a triform 3. And then the one at night, calming magnesium, great to take about 30 minutes before bed for a great night's sleep. Okay. Next question is from John? John is up next. I recently searched your podcast for information on how to filter my drinking water and love what I learned. I came across your use of the Kangen K machine and was wondering if it's still the best in class, as I've seen others that seem to meet the same criteria. I'm asking this as I do want to invest in one and I'm unsure which to buy. Thanks for all your amazing information you give. Many thanks, John. Yeah, so I try to stay unbiased always in this, but I do my research. So basically I can choose any product I want in the world because I'm not affiliated with any of these products, right? So the only one that I'm affiliated with, meaning like I run this company, right, is Equilife. And so that's what we use in our practice. So that was built out of necessity and need. I need to build these protocols, make it easy for my clients, do third-party testing so I know that what's in there is in there and that it's clean. So we put all the third-party testing right on the website at eco.life, which stephencabral.com/shop just takes you over to Equilife because a lot of people can't spell Equilife, which I get it. So that's that. So when I recommend water machines, it's like, well, some people say like, how come you switched from recommending this mattress to that mattress or this to this? It's not like the other mattress I recommended was bad. It's just whenever there's something better, I'm going to recommend that. And with Equilife, it's easy because whenever I can make it better, I just make it better myself, right? Like, so it's like, that's easy. So here's the thing. All of these hydrogen water ionizers do not filter your water well enough. They don't. They're just not. They're single filters for the most part. So you need a water filter, which is what I do. If you go to stephencabral.com/hydrogen-water, I lay everything out unbiased. I give you all the research and then I let you decide. Because ultimately, this is your life. You get to decide what you invest in. But that is without a doubt the best. I've used the Berkey. I mean, I've used back in the day, like literally late 90s, early 2000s, whatever it was, I was using a water pitcher, like a filter, because I was starting to get into it back then. And then I moved on to whoever knows what, maybe it was a Brita. And then eventually it was some countertop one that held 2.5 gallons. Then I moved on to the Berkey in like let's say 2005-ish era. And then after that, I moved to the AquaTrue on-the-counter reverse osmosis. And then I wanted to make it easier. So I did an under-the-counter reverse osmosis, which is what I do now. And I hooked that up to the K8. And now that is the ultimate in drinking water. I was sharing at RHS, and I don't want to go on and on about this, but my family, before we leave the house, takes about almost 2 gallons of water. And I know that seems crazy, but let's go through it. We have water with breakfast. Yes, my daughters drink water with their breakfast. They don't do juice. They have fruit with their breakfast, but that's it. Or a smoothie. So that goes into that. And my wife does it for her green tea. I do it for my coffee because I do a small amount of coffee. It's only 7 ounces, but then I add more to it just for more fluid. Then I have my smoothie, and both my daughters take a liter of water to school. So a 32 ounce like stainless steel thing to school. So you're looking at 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons of water. Plus my dog gets water. You rehydrate his food. So that's a lot of water. And there's no way, like you just need that quick, like on the go, and the hydrogen water shaker bottles, all that, it's not going to cut it. And so that's what I did. I invested in a K8. Why did I invest in that one? So first of all, it's been around about 20 years longer than any other company. So they've worked out any different bugs. And also they guarantee it for something like 25 years. So if there's ever an issue, like this is a 25-year investment. And so it's been around for over 40 years, 25-year investment. And it's what also, and I don't want to say, I'm not providing any medical cures, medical diagnosis, medical treatment plans. I actually can't say this. There's a bunch of clinics around the world doing great work, and this is the one that they choose. So I like to also rely on my colleagues who are also experts. All right. So, but just check out the science. Go to stephencabral.com/hydrogen-water. It took me a long time. Like I really did my homework on this. Without a doubt, it's the best one. Hook up the under-the-counter mineralization, reverse osmosis, to the K8. We ship people a free under-the-counter reverse osmosis because we know it's an investment. We don't own either one of these companies, by the way. We ship this out of our own money. I just want you to know that. Anyway, I'm not going to sell you on it. If it's the right fit, it's the right fit. Okay, let's get to, can we do another question? I think that's it for today. 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like we need to do one more question. Hi, Dr. Rawl. I would love to hear your opinion about the benefits of taking Acemannan from the aloe vera plant, yes, as a prevention for inflammation-related diseases. Thank you very much for your generosity in sharing so much life-saving information. This is a great question. I only started to recently look into this. Wow, what did you write it for? As a prevention? Yeah, this is interesting. Wow, I was having this conversation with someone else, and it was actually about tumors and different things like that, fatty deposits. This is very fascinating because I love serendipity. So this is something that I'm looking into. I'm not necessarily recommending that on a daily basis because this is not something that the human body is missing. Like omega-3s and different things like that, which your body like needs, those are essential. I always use, but I am actually looking into this, and it's from the whole aloe, and it absolutely has been shown to improve. Sorry, don't quote me on this. I'm still doing the initial research, and so I don't like to give these things right away, but it improves macrophages in the body as part of the immune system, and it can definitely act as an anti-inflammatory, but it also seems to have some anti-tumor-based effects. There's some animal studies. So I'm looking more into this. I'm probably going to do it on a Friday review. But in general, the whole aloe vera gel that you can consume seems to be, totally fine. If someone wanted to add that to their smoothie as a little thickener, I wouldn't be against that. I used to do that way back in the day for my gut. Tatiana, great point bringing that up. I'm actually going to note it right after this in 30 seconds from now to do a little bit more research and then probably bring it to a Friday review. So I appreciate all of you being an amazing part of this community. I thank you so much. I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new Mindset and Motivation Monday on the Cabral Concept. Be well. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.